a plot to drop the IQ. Fighting amongst each other over rumors that don't like you. Prefer us trapped in melancholy with the wood wands of holly. Suggestions that obliterate to camouflage the folly. Attempt a mental robbery, executed sloppily. Hypocrisy, this mockery, and walk the talk with me. Put the hands up to touch the Akasha, cause you know deep down there's something bigger than your wallet.
Sweet eternal balance of all that is good, true, and beautiful. Friends, welcome back to Rogue Ways, where tonight we're getting our messages for December via the Tarot Oracle. I am doing my best here tonight. I'm sure it'll be great, and just bear with me as I am still healing. And I also now just do these tarot readings for everyone. This is not just for supporters, it's for anyone who would like access to it. So this is streaming now on YouTube, on Rumble, and on Rockfin, not just for supporters. It might just be this way forever. Lots of things are in flux in the Rogue Ways verse and in my life, and so we'll just see where things go. I am still healing, as you can see. I mean, if you're very astute, you can see there's still some swelling over here. It's pretty good. I'm not in any pain anymore, I should say. I'm in almost no pain. I don't know what it's like to not be in any pain, and as I just smiled really big, it hurt. So there's still some pain. This is a week since the surgery, the dental surgery. And I was saying earlier today, I'm actually really grateful that I have had a prior, I can't remember what it's called now, taking your tooth out experience and implant experience, because that was nothing like this. And I would have thought that this is just what normal with extraction surgery and implant surgery, that the way I've been feeling is normal, and it's not at all. It's nothing like the previous time. In fact, the previous time, I didn't even take antibiotics. I didn't have any antibiotics. I didn't have a severe infection. I may have had a minor infection, and it was, good enough to just remove the tooth. My body did the rest. This infection was so major that I really genuinely feel lucky to be alive. And I was explaining this, over the past week, the few times that I've been on a show like Day Zero, or I was on Chris Matthews' show, Forbidden Knowledge News, where I went way deeper into it. If you want to check that episode out, there's some paranormal aspects to this as well. I've talked about it on my show a little bit too, but I've been realizing more and more just how dangerous the situation was, and how, I don't know, is ironic the right word? That all of my prior lifelong, horrible, debilitating health issues all came together to make this exceptionally difficult for me to have noticed or understood like how bad it was. And then I'm just grateful that I listened to my intuition and went to the dentist way earlier than I was supposed to, and that they caught this, and that they could do the surgery as quickly as they could, that they were intelligent enough to give me these unfortunately exceptionally powerful antibiotics, that I was smart enough to take them as directed, which again, I didn't want to do. I usually resist antibiotics. I'm used to people over prescribing them and prescribing them for things that are not bacterial infections. So, my instinct was to not take them, but I was visited in a dream by my dead cousin and my dead grandma, and they told me if I didn't take them, I would die. So I'm taking them. I'm taking them. So yeah, I've had the prior extraction, not even antibiotics. This extraction, not only antibiotics, but some of the most powerful you can get, and for the longest course and the highest dose and the most frequency, and therefore sepsis, therefore systemic infection. And I just recently had a friend who was in the hospital for 4 months, just barely hanging on to life from this same thing. So I'm just like, holy shit, I'm so grateful that I did figure it out, that I did get it out, that it is a healing, that I am taking the antibiotics, that the antibiotics exist. My body could not have fought this off on its own, apparently. And, it's right there next to your brain. I've talked about as well that it was perhaps 4 months. 4 months minimum. That's just what I can remember off the top of my head of like, oh, those were actually probably all symptoms of this infection in my neck, in my head, in my spine. And you're probably sitting there going either, yeah, right, or why won't you go get this checked out more? And the answer is, I don't know anyone who will help me. I mean, like, I don't know any doctors who will take me seriously or even go looking for anything. And if so, what are they going to do? I've got the antibiotics. That's what they would have done. So I just went about it the dental route, I guess. And I was thinking also how, I don't know if irony is the right word either, maybe possibly ironic it is that dentists still have the ability to somewhat, and I'm not saying most of them do, but they have the ability to actually identify things wrong with you and prescribe things appropriately without having any sort of like benefits on the line or bonuses on the line. Or, I've talked to, for example, doctors such as Jennifer Daniels, and other doctors have been on Rogue Ways before talking about how they have their licenses pulled if they don't prescribe enough of things that aren't even necessarily helping anyone, that may be destroying their health more. You and I know they are likely destroying their health more, and their license will be pulled. The best doctor I ever had to stop practicing because all of the insurance agencies not only wouldn't cover her, were after her license if she continued to practice. Best doctor I ever had, because she didn't prescribe me a bunch of bullshit. She tried to help me solve things at the root. So dentists still have this sort of area where they can like prescribe appropriately and not overprescribe inappropriately. And it's just been an interesting experience. It's been an interesting experience to have this happen in such a way that my own already severe health issues again sort of masked or hid it from me for a very long time. And then also have this angel in the form of a dentist. Here's the kicker. I feel like I've said it before. I'll say it one more time, and then we'll get into the tarot. We'll talk about the economy for December, the physical health outlook, mental, emotional health outlook, the romance, societal outlook, the spiritual, and the final message. But I've mentioned before, part of what has been traumatizing about this, aside from it being like life-threatening and systemic and overwhelming, and I'm still tired every day. I'm a week away from the surgery itself, and I'm just like exhausted. My guts are being ripped apart by these powerful antibiotics. Aside from all of that, I have a very, very specific trauma inflicted by a dentist when I was young, and very specifically sadistic torture at the hands of this dentist for years. Serial abuser. Created cavities and issues for me so that I would have to go back to him. No one believed me. No one stopped him. And so I just was tortured over and over again. Learned how to go out of body and all sorts of stuff from that magical experience. Horrifying things. I won't go into detail about them beyond what I just did. That trauma makes it difficult to be at the dentist. This is so, again, is it irony? I don't know. I don't have a better word. It's the universe being incredible. Like you couldn't plan it better yourself is what it is. I go to this dentist. Again, I had a different dentist. I had a different dentist appointment. And then I was like, I think I need to go now. I think I need to go like today. I don't think I can wait this long. And I'm glad I did. So when I found a different dentist who would let me in earlier, I went to him, and he looks stunningly like the man who tortured me. Like I get fucked up in my stomach even saying it out loud. Like they're almost I mean, like their face is not identical, but they have the exact same frame. They're like the exact same age, right? Like when I was a kid, how old that dentist was is how old this dentist is now. Exact same age. They both have the same hair and hairstyle, same skin color, same other than the torture, mannerisms and personality. Like, talk about possibly the worst trigger you could have. But for some reason, I guess because I have healed so much of this trauma, it did not drive me away. It didn't drive me into flashbacks or dissociation. Maybe a little dissociation, but not horrible. Really weird. Really weird. So I was talking about this earlier, just how bizarre, right? You can't run away from anything. You can't undo anything. You have to, in fact, move right through no matter what it is. And in this case, that's the way we had to do it. We had to find the dentist that looked exactly like the other one. Not only is this one not a torturer, though, he's like one of the kindest people. He said the most kind things to me. He didn't go into detail, but he was just like, you've had really negative experiences at the hand of a dentist. I was like, yeah. And so he knew the trauma. He knew how afraid I was, and he was so sweet, so gentle, so nice, and also just very appropriate and professional. Like, did the job quite well, but just looked exactly like, just so weird. It's so weird, you guys. So anyway, yeah, still healing as you would be, but not only just like the normal healing from dental surgery, but also from this brutal infection that has ravaged my body and, in my experience, nearly killed me. Not dead yet, still here. I'm glad for that. So we'll jump into it today. I do, of course, want to let anyone out there who still doesn't know that rogueways.org is the place to be. That's where all of my channeled books are. That's where you can look into the Blazing Brightness Retreat, which is this coming summer 2025. Whew, it's going to be off the hook insane. I can't wait. I've already been getting lots of downloads about it, and it's going to be really, really cool. Sorry, I'm just a little bit of pain now. The dream walking classes, the next one is January, so that'll be exciting. If you want to join us for the dream walking classes, change your whole life, and reconnect to your ability to be a spiritually skillful person in this world. It actually, if you already have other spiritual skills, it's great. This is just an addition to the bag. If you don't, this is like a doorway that opens up all of your other spiritual skills. Psychicness, remote viewing, everything. They're all similar. And so when you learn one, the rest are easier, at least more accessible to you. And dreamwalking is, in my opinion, the most accessible of the spiritual skills. So super powerful class that's coming up again this January. All of everything is here. You can schedule with me one-on-one, read the testimonies of people who've been working with me for years, look into doing a ceremony, check out the shop, check out the favorite things tab, and more there at rogueways.org. Also, if you do go to the shop, there is a donation of support option. I am very grateful to those of you who have supported me in this time. I've, of course, had to work less and not have as many one-on-one sessions with people for quite some time now, and that has been continuing. Doing my best to be here, be doing shows, and be doing whatever I can, but it's been quite difficult with this all going on. So I really appreciate that as well. I have an exceptional dental bill now that's going to reach $8,000, and that's just for this. That's just for this tooth. I'm just hoping nothing else went wrong, and we'll see. So any donation that you want to share is so deeply appreciated. Thank you to those of you who already have. It's my birthday in a week, by the way. It is the giving season, a holiday season. And if you find value in my show, if you like this tarot reading, especially now that it's free for all, if you've ever felt like you found value here, I really appreciate you sharing that back, especially at this time. Thank you to all of you. This was actually suggested before I got into any of this dental nightmare and trauma and body, blood, infection, whatever's going on with me. A fan suggested that I add this donation of support to the shop on Rogueways. So if you're on rogueways.org and you go to the shop, it is actually just right here at the top since it's the newest option. Now that this is going on, I'm even more grateful that that fan suggested this option, because I also have a PayPal. PayPal.me/rogueways is where you can find that if you want to donate via PayPal. Some people don't want to use PayPal, which I get. They have been censors. They have been suppressors. I only have it because I have some people who have to pay with PayPal. So it's just as a business, I have to. I don't keep it even connected to a sort of real bank account because they have said that they might take $6,000 from people if they do the wrong thing on social media. So I don't keep any money in there. And it's just there for those few people who need it. But paypal.me/rogueways if you want. And if not, then that shop option on the Rogueways shop at rogueways.org, it's $10 and you can do multiples of that. So some people are doing multiples of that to give a little bit more, and anything that you want to share is so great, so appreciated. So that's there on the site too. And also have Venmo, which is just at Rogueways. So those are all options. And also you can support the show in general and get perks in general ongoing at rogueways.substack.com. This is where the channeled messages come through. And recently, if you're subscribed for free, you've been getting some longer posts. Sometimes I do some free stuff for people, and sometimes it is for the supporters. So you can do either free or paid over at Substack, rogueways.substack.com. But these recent two are about dealing with trauma, obviously, because that's another, yet another time I'm confronting old trauma here in my world. And so it's on topic. It's timely, right? But it's actually, interestingly, this is the time of year for it. Like a lot of people, and there's so many reasons for that, esoterically, spiritually, and also just because it's holiday seasons. And most people have trauma with their families. It's not even because families have like something wrong with them. It's because we come back together as soul groups in order to confront old karma. So yeah, we're gonna have trauma. Trauma and karma are sort of just like different words for the same thing, almost. And so it's a time of year we often get back together with family, or we don't. And that is also sometimes traumatic, right? Because we've abandoned them or they've abandoned us. So it's a time of year for this. So it's good. It's timely. So these are free actually for anyone. And they're super helpful. I wish I would have known this way back when. Hard-won knowledge here, not channeled messages, but almost of that caliber. So check those out for free. If you're not already subscribed for free, at least subscribe for free. And if you would like the channeled messages and to support what I do, then become a paid subscriber at rogueways.substack.com. And finally, I want to invite you to the Lightning Oracle round tomorrow. That's every first and third Tuesday of the month. You get a message just for you. So this tarot reading is for the whole month. It's for everyone who's here, who's going to listen, who's going to watch tonight. But on the Lightning Oracle round, if you come join, you get a message just for you. It's directly to you. It's either in response to a question you can share or not share, or it's just a general message from your guides and allies that you need to hear at that moment. You get to choose. You get to choose how to receive it. You can either be there live with us, camera on, video on, everything, or you can be there, camera off, muted, or you cannot be there and catch the recording. It's just up to you. It doesn't matter. It is a powerful circle of healing as well, just for that hour or two that we end up doing it. So that's going to be December 3rd, tomorrow. And then again on the 17th, I believe, this month, and then every month, 1st and 3rd. So you can sign up for any Lightning Oracle rounds you would like to right off the bat here. Also, One Day of Brightness is coming up. So both of these are just the top two options on the Calendly. If you've already scheduled with me before, you know how it goes. If not, here's your opportunity. Go to calendly.com/rogueways. By the way, all these links I'm spewing at you and things I'm talking about are below you wherever you're watching or listening. So you could just click over, join the Lightning Oracle round tomorrow and One Day of Brightness on the solstice this Saturday, December 21st. This month's December 21st. I don't even know, man. I'm barely making it. But yeah, One Day of Brightness and Lightning Oracle are both there. I've come to both. I don't have the energy to tell you about One Day of Brightness right now. If you don't know, you can go click on it and find out. I'll talk about it next time, I promise. So yeah. All right. Let's get to it. I already pulled the cards ahead of time because I was trying to make this as easy as possible for myself. So if you know, I usually pull them right now. They're already laid out. It very rarely ever happens, but we're doing that today. So this first card is December's economy. We're already in December. It's already begun, and it's coming quicker. Oh, wait. Before we get started, I forgot. This is the last month of the year. And back in 2024, January, we did, or maybe it was the end of December 2023, there was a yearly tarot that I will be doing in about a month for 2025. Isn't that crazy? So I like to go back and see what was up with this. In December, we got 10 of Wands, which is the card of oppression. The message that channeled through back then was that we've taken the steps to accept. I'm trying to read my own writing. It's insane. I've taken the steps to accept and channel divine guidance, and we can escape the worst of oppression and guide others too through it. Wow. I feel the energy of this again now. It's funny to tap back into those things. It makes actually a lot of sense now. I would not. I would not have imagined that, and I wouldn't have felt this way. But it's interesting. Sometimes when you go this far out, in psychic readings or tarot readings, the messages can get less and less reliable the farther out you go. It's just sometimes it's true, and it's because things aren't necessarily written in stone. And so the decisions you make on the way can kind of shift things. So I do this with yearly readings for people too. Those will start booking soon if you're going to do a 2025 yearly reading. And it's similar. We just do a card for each month and we talk about how the year is likely going to go. Those have been really cool for people, especially to go through month by month, come back to it and be like, oh yeah, here's what that meant. So that's been really fun. But I talk to people about that too during those readings. Like, don't take September. Well, September is probably pretty good, but October, November, December, like just give it a grain of salt. It's still usually right though. And this one seems no different. So it's not that the oppression isn't there, right? It's not that we're living in some utopian dream now or that all danger is past. It's that despite the oppression happening, we've escaped the worst of it. And that's actually been the guidance I've been receiving and what I've been talking about. Cornily enough, and definitely against the wishes of most in the conspiracy community who are judging me for it, the election, right? Something switched, something changed. And it's, again, not out of the woods. It's not perfect. This isn't a savior moment, but it is definitely better than it could have been. Again, I wouldn't have expected to say it. I wouldn't have expected to feel it. And here we are again revisiting it through this tarot reading. So that was December's overall message, that the oppression's still there, but we've escaped the worst of it. And we can also guide others out of some of the worst of what they would otherwise still experience. So now let's get to December's economic message. So this is the Nine of Wands, which is power reversed. Nine of Wands, and this type of powers usually are really fiery, like strong will, like this is what we will do and this is how it will be, and we're going to make it that way no matter what, right? And it has to do often with our very individual drive for what we want, but there's also often people with us in it. So we have like a group that we're associated with, or we have an organization, or we have like a family, right? Or something that's like behind us in this. So depending on what the question is and what we're talking about, those are the factors that can come into play. With the economy, this would seem to say that like it's not going to be about how hard you're pushing or trying or fighting or how advanced you are. And that it might feel like there is some pushback against you, diminishing of your power and your ability to just decide and make it happen. And especially if there were a business or an organization around you, since we're talking about economic things, there might be some less powerful movement there. So this isn't saying you destitute, you'll be bereft, or you're not going to make any progress. But it might not be as easy. It might not happen as quickly in December. It might even seem to go backwards a little bit. So I would look more towards, again, jobs, companies, businesses that you own or work for. Could be a family message, but not going to be as likely with this placement. All right, so a little bit of disempowerment, a little bit less easy to just get and do what you want, what you feel like you need. The message has been all along, though, even through these financial troubles and changes we're going through as a collective, that you can and will, if you're in the right karmic path, get everything you need. Well, I shouldn't even say that. You will always get everything you need. You just don't always know what it is you need. But your economics could be fine despite this. So it feels frustrating to me. It feels like, you expect something to happen and it's not going to happen. Something that's probably happening most of your life, and now it's not. And we'll move on to the physical health in December. Interesting. This feels very energetic, which makes me wonder if it has to do with radiation, which I know, again, talking about it a lot, but the solar situation, plasma and whatnot, but also 5G. Like these are two things that are happening simultaneously and they're hard to disentangle. might be affecting our physical health, and we will not be able to feel like we can be useful against it. This is the Seven of Swords, and it's a card of uselessness. So again, mental energy, like we won't be able to think our way through this as easily, or we will feel very scrambled about it, or it's just not clear. And that might even just be because of exactly what I said. Like, not only could there be health issues caused by the radiation of various types, but that it's just so confusing that, like, it will be hard to understand what to do about it. Speaking of which, part of the pathway I was discovering about, like, how could I have an infection in my head, spine, or neck, and then it goes to my tooth? Like, what even is that? I've never heard of this before. So I was researching, and this happens to people primarily who had spinal neck cancer and had intense radiation therapy, or whatever we call that, on their neck. And then they get this infection because their body is basically breaking down in that area. And then it spreads to the teeth, or it can spread to the eyes, or it can spread to your brain, and you could die. And so that's the most common. So I was like, well, why would I have that? Like, I have severe autoimmune, and I have a really intensely messed up spine. And so I was like, well, maybe my spine, my rods are, like, infected. That's a thing that can happen. No one's ever checked, or maybe is ever going to. So I don't even know how I would know. So, like, that could be it. But also I was like, it's caused by radiation damage. Like, my alarm bells are, like, going off. I'm like, is this a 5J related or a solar plasma electric overload related illness? And if this is mine, like, what are other people's, right? Is that also why my friend just went to the hospital for, again, she's like, why did this happen to me? I just almost died. I was in the hospital for 4 months, right? It's not like her or I have, like, this horrible mouth health or whatever, right? And again, in my case, it didn't even start in the tooth as far as we can tell. Like, it doesn't seem to make sense. So that sort of feels like the energy of this card, right? Like, I can't think my way through this. I don't actually know. I don't know if I'll have the answers. And again, are other people experiencing other adverse effects of whichever possible types of radiation, right? In what ways? Because it's probably going to be different for everyone, just like it is when they test what radiation poisoning does to people. It's different for everyone. It manifests, right? There's similarities in groups of them, but, like, each person is different. So it feels like that's our health message for December. When both of these happen, again, disempowerment and confusion are two really difficult things to deal with. Primarily what we have to do is fall back into our heart and fall back into our, really, that surrender, right? Of being a superpower of, like, okay, then I don't have control, and I'll just trust, right? Like, I'll just trust, and I'll just do my best, right? Otherwise, you overthink it. Like, I'm like, I don't know, what do I do for this? Is that I do have to blah. And finally, I was just like, I don't know, dude. I'll rest, and I'll drink good water and eat good food, just like I always do. And, like, and I've been sleeping now for, like, a week and a half. So, but we want to fall back into the most positive, hopeful, productive that we can, right? And if that is trust and surrender, trust and surrender. Right? Sometimes that's all you can do. Because disempowerment, confusion are like that. You're like, well, I can't do anything and I don't know what to do. It's like, yeah, okay. So trust and surrender. All right. So the mental emotional message for December, however, is victory. So that's exactly what I was just talking about. We not be able to think our way through it. It might feel very disempowering, like we can't do what we want to do, and yet we can still have the mental and emotional victory of knowing that we trust and surrender. We're here for some reason, and we're here living through it, and we're doing our best, and there is literally nothing else to do. In fact, again, for the 10 billionth time, when you are mentally and emotionally creating wellness for yourself, you are already transforming the world at the highest level you possibly could. That's the highest service you could possibly do. So that is the victory. And again, this also can be done with others, right? And when we are doing that, other people are like, hey, I want some of that, because life is madness out here, but that person seems somehow okay, right? this is part of, again, what I was talking about the other day. I was like, I don't think people really understand like how bad I am sometimes, because I still smile and I come on here and talk. And it's hard for them to know. So we can have this level of victory even as our physical health or our overwhelm or our feelings of disempowerment are high, right? And that's with the external world. This is the internal world. That can still be great. It's true. And I also say, even if you fall into it, sometimes the confusion, the disempowerment, the distraction, whatever it is, you just come right back to that place that you know. That's why I say you retreat to your heart, right? You fall back into your heart. Because that's that place. It's eternal. It's eternal, and you know it. You've always known it. There's nothing there to do or be. So we'll talk now about our romance message. This is weird that this is coming back. This is the Star reversed. This is the Major Arcana card. This is talking about the collective level, which might be very, very upfront and personal for you specifically, or it might be what you've already gone through. So some of us, this card isn't as present for. There may be pieces of it, though, that are echoing back. And the energy of it is that of refusing to release what no longer serves you. And so in the biggest level of this, the highest level of this, the most confronting level of this, people are holding on to lovers that don't serve them. Relationships that are not of their highest soul level. We already did a big purging of this over the past few years. And lots of the cards for many, many months in a row were about that, about us getting really real about like, what are you here for? And like, why would you be with that person through this type of a nightmare, right? Through this type of a societal upheaval? Like, that's the person you're going to pretend like is the best for you. So like there was a lot of relationships that ended, a lot of growth around this. This is like a resurgence of this. So I would say, especially if there were people who went through that and still didn't let go, something about this December might be echoing that back of like, hey, remember? That wasn't the best person for you, and you stuck with them, right? Or you're not the best for them. I mean, it's true on both ways, no matter how you cut it. So you might have some of that coming back and echoing back. For the rest of us, even if we did let go of that person, or we are actually with the person who is of our highest soul compatibility and companionship, there still may be some things we're healing when we used to be the person who wouldn't let go of that, right? And sometimes that comes out with the person you're with. In fact, that in a really beautiful relationship is exactly what happens. All our old traumas get to come up and come out. Pour each other. We've got to deal with each other's karma and trauma. But it's in beautiful ways, and it's so much easier because it's with someone you actually love and who actually loves you. So we'll have some of that coming back up. It's going to look different for everybody because of those reasons. But something about why you wouldn't let go in the past, or why you're not letting go now, is coming up in your romantic relationships, or lack thereof, because you can confront this same energy alone, right? So take that. I just look at all of it as purification, right? I read this quote and it was like, eventually, I think it was like Freud or I don't know, Jung or someone that was like, eventually those who suffer enough learn to enjoy their suffering. And I was like, that sounds awful, but it's true. And it is not actually enjoyment per se, but it's like, even through this like whole horrible infection tooth thing, I've been like, yeah, good, let's do it. Well, whatever we're purifying, like, let's get rid of it. Let's be done with this. So enjoy, but respect and appreciate. I think that's a better way to say it. So let's respect and appreciate what we're letting go of in our old romantic habits, or the romantic habits we haven't let go of yet. And let's let them go. This is the beautiful energy of the Star, is when you get it right and you let go, it's like taking a really nice shower. You're just like, oh, everything is fresh and good. It feels so good. Actually, why did I resist this? Don't resist, just let go. And we'll talk about society. We have this reversed devil. The reversed devil card is another major arcana, so it's another kind of collective purging. They're both reversed, so they're both going to be resisted by the majority and in us to some degree, right? We don't want to, right? We don't want to look at the thing to let go of in our relationship, and we don't want to look at this temptation and our weakness in response to it. So it's on a social level. Usually that means it's public, right? So publicly, we have some sort of vice or some sort of failing, and we're going to want to do it again. And even though we know that we shouldn't, we're going to want to do it again. And this is a difficult one too. Again, it's going to be just like that last card where it's really specific to you what this is to you, because it's different for everyone. Some people's public temptation that they fall into, that the devil tempts them into, if you want to put it in those terms, is like pride, right? Or like bragging. And some people it's like virtue signaling, right? Like, oh, I would never do that. Oh, if you don't do that, then you're just not good enough. Like that, right? I don't know, the inability to say that you're wrong. But it might be a little bit more actually vicey than that, like something to do with porn, or, you know, going out to the bars and hitting on people, or I don't know, right? It can be any of those types of things. It's whenever you're tempted to fall into your lower nature and you know better. That's what this devil card's all about. Again, for sometimes we're talking about drugs, we're talking about alcohol, we're talking about whatever, and sometimes we're talking about like, oh, you tell white lies because it makes you sound better. You know? So like the devil sounds intense. It can be like in fact, it's almost always the most banal, minor seeming things. And then sometimes it's those big things. So for each of us, it's going to be different. But again, because this is in the place of society in this reading, it's going to be public. This is the type of energy that would, you know, if it ever happened, say where the Jews were hiding to the Nazis, right? This is that type of energy. Like it's public. You're like, oh, I want to be perceived this way. Or I'm afraid of what will happen if I don't play this game publicly. That's this energy. So it's very difficult to nail down because we're each so different in what our failings are, especially the public ones. You know, you could look though to yourself and you could say, where am I like the fakest? Like, where am I most likely to be least myself? Where am I least likely to be really brutally honest and real? And that's likely where this energy is going to be for you in the month of December. So, for me, for example, it's like being judgy and snarky to people. Really, really good at that. I get better and better all the time at not doing that as much. It's really actually true. And probably where mine's going to be this month. We'll see. And so we have our spiritual message as well, which is, I think we maybe had this last month. I'm not sure. But this is the Six of Swords reverse. It's a card of science. It's exactly what it sounds like. It's like the card of logic and science and fact and details. And this isn't our spiritual message for December, and it's reversed. And so it's pretty clearly saying, like, do not look to logic this month. You trust your instinct, you trust your heart, you trust your intuition. And especially if it seems like so clear logically that something has to be some way, you go back into your heart again. You go back into that spiritual space, because if I would have went with logic, for example, I would not have gone to the dentist earlier. And if I went with logic, I wouldn't listen to a message from my dead aunt and dead cousin telling me to take all my antibiotics, right? So or maybe I would, because people would say, well, they said to take it. But again, I've like almost only ever been prescribed antibiotics for things that were not bacterial in nature. So I'm just like, why would I take these? And I never do. But in this case, it was. And so I did. But you know what I'm saying. So this is for the whole month of December. It's a spiritual message. So especially in matters that feel spiritual to you, do not rely on logic. Do not rely on the facts. Do not rely on logic. Rely on your heart, your intuition. It's specifically messaged this month, so it makes me wonder what sort of trickery will be afoot through statistics or seeming logic or facts, right? So watch out for that. We'll watch out for that together. Lindsay Smith in the Rockfin chat says, our intuition, the voice of God, is our best guide. It's so true. It's like the only reason I'm alive. I mean, not just from this most recent bout with, sort of like glance off the face of death, but my whole life, so many times over and over again. If I didn't listen to that, I would be dead. Someone was like, "It's a miracle you're alive." I'm like, how many times over? Two. It's like just 500 times over. It's a miracle. I bet you could say that about yourself if you look deeply enough. If you haven't yet noticed, I bet you can find the moments where God was also guiding you and you would have been dead too. So that's our message. Do not let the facts blind you. The seeming facts and the seeming logic blind you in December, especially. So yeah, it seems like trickery will be afoot. We'll see. And the final message for December is courage reversed. We get this card as a reminder most often. We already got the card Six of Wands, by the way, remember, in our mental and emotional space, which was saying, like, despite the hardships of December and despite the challenges, our mind and our heart can still be in victorious, overcoming, in connection, right? In victory. That's the victory. No matter what's happening around us, we can have that knowledge of who and what we are and that understanding in our heart and the guidance we were just talking about. But because it's going to be a very challenging month in every other way, for the collective at least, and for you in whatever ways it confronts you, we may feel that we are not courageous. We may feel, in fact, like we can't do this. I can't even tell you how much I was sure I could not actually show up at the dentist for them to cut this tooth out of my face. Sure, I was like, I can't do it. I can't do it. I can't do this. And I've done it before, but this time it was different. And so, but I was, and I kept telling myself, yes, I can. God wouldn't put it in front of me if I couldn't, right? I can. In fact, I'll be guided and protected in ways I can't even imagine still. Despite all the amazing things I've experienced in my life, I will be even more protected, guided, and supported in that. And it was true. So I just kept taking each step and kept feeling like I couldn't and kept feeling like surely this isn't what I have to do and there has to be some way out of it and all of the things, and just kept moving anyway until I was done with it. And there it was. And so the courage card is reversed here because we imagine that we can't do the thing. We imagine that it's too difficult, or that I can't do the thing, or surely I'm not even supposed to, or someone else is, or something. And the message is actually no. The courage is still there. You just don't know it. You don't believe it. The reversal is not saying you lack the courage. The reversal is saying you have to do the thing anyway. And then you realize how courageous you are. Dude, people tell me all the time in my life in general, they're like, you're so brave. I'm like, I don't feel brave, but I look at the things that I've done and that I talk to people about, and I understand why you think that. I don't think that. I mean, again, I'm getting better and better understanding that I'm brave. It is not a natural feeling for me. It's not where I begin, right? It's where I end. And it's where I end because I trust and I surrender and I just keep taking each step. And that's it. That's actual courage, right? What do they say? Courage is not the absence of fear, it's action despite the fear. That's our overall message for December. Nothing can stop you. You're an interminable, ineffable light of infinite glory here in this physical space and time. And I'm so grateful to be here with you. And so thank you for being here and being you. And thank you for all of your support. I've received prayers. I've received Reiki for free. I've received so much support for people, healings from people, all these donations that I appreciate so much from each and every one of you. Thank you for all of those. I am happily accepting more. I'm nowhere near the total price of this dental bill. And so if you feel like you can and you would like to, thank you for continuing to donate. And yeah. December, whatever it holds, it always sounds scarier than it is. So don't let it overwhelm you. Just remember, you're never going to be in any situation that you can't handle. That's the truth. I love you all, and I will We'll see you tomorrow at the Lightning Oracle round if you are signed up. If not, go to calendly.com/rogueways and sign up right now. Otherwise, we'll be here back for the winning report on Wednesdays. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Love you, love you, love you. And until we all know exactly how courageous we are, travel well, aim for balance, and always look inside first. Mwah.
Yeah, come on, Rap Kings, baby. It's the rap machine. Yeah, check it. Gray bearded pirate, my motherfucker unknown. Yeah, come on. In the place with my fist up, meaning I resist the bullshit that they feed us and lead us. This is just a part of the process, man. Just watch this, cause this shit's about to get crazy like a mosh pit. We lost it, toss it, let's start it again. Cause now with technology, with smarter men and women, this is the beginning, not the end. If this is the message of hope that I send, look on your TV, it's a culture of death. They'll keep on lying to the very last breath. We keep on striving and spreading the truth. It's hard to survive in this world for the youth. The door is closed, the old world is dead. Let's have an age of understanding instead. I'll include you and you include me. Let's see what we can build with some positivity. Let's go, you're moving too slow. Let me see your hands if you know what I know. Come on.
Rap like mummy, ain't no dummy in my rhyming. Started flowing freestyling, now they rhyming loud silence. On with the violence, bodies piling with the gray-bearded pirate. On your TV in 4K 3D virtual reality. Casualty of urban warfare. I know but I'm not scared, just prepared and aware. Shining my light through the tunnel of hope. Into the rope, but I'ma give it one more pull. Till the family is full. Take the bull by the horns and lead it to the slaughter. That would be harder and you would be softer. Sometimes I'm a monster, and you forever imposter, with your champagne and lobster. This royalty, the way it was supposed to be. Hopefully the new door opens and the old one closes, with way more focus and growth to mold us, and the truth that they should have told us.
To them screens, it's a plot to drop the IQ. Fighting amongst each other over rumors that don't like you. Refer us trapped in melancholy with the wood wands of holly. Suggestions that a flicker rate to camouflage the folly. Attempted mental robbery, executed sloppily. The paupers see this mockery and walk the talk with me. Put the hands up to touch the Akasha, cause you know deep down there's something bigger than your wallet. Everyone got a gift, everyone got a light. They want you to forget that ish, cause they can't dim the bright. The positive vibration takes you past the sign shackles, from the sewers and the alleys in the moving castles. Who these assholes really serving with an exposed Achilles surgeon around the corner lurking to prove ascension Trump's perversion? Learn them to catch fish and unplug the signal. Show them the simpletons now build the fucking temple.